Welcome to the Countryman channel, where we're going to get started doing a little bit of sewing. For this project, we're going to make a vest indoor, what they call a waistcoat. This one happens to be a child or a child's waistcoat. So as you can see here, right here, I have a pattern. And I originally obtained this pattern because I had ordered a child's waistcoat, and then I just used that waistcoat to create my own pattern. And for this project, it doesn't require very much material. So I have basically a yard of material, matching thread, and at the same time, what I normally do is when I make a vest or a waistcoat, and I did all sorts, normally what you'll do is you'll do a outside material and then a inside. This one I'm just doing the same, both inside and outside. So stay with me and we'll get started. So when you have your patterns, obviously you have front and back, and what you need to do is when you're marking the material to get it cut out is you're going to need 2 of the front and 2 of the back. So you would lay this one down like so, trace it out. That's one side of the front, and then you're going to turn it over, trace it out. That's another side, the other side of the front, and you're going to repeat that so that you have 2 of them, one for the front, one for the back, and you're going to repeat the same process for the back. So for the inside fabric front and for the outside fabric front, same thing for the back. You're going to trace one of these like so, turn it over, trace it. There's one. You can just repeat that process. So let's get started. I think everybody could see, so I did a front and back, one for each side, and then I'm going to repeat the process. So I think everybody gets that. We'll go from there. And I believe this is where we left off. I went ahead and left that part out or whatever, but after obviously marking the fabric with the pattern, I went ahead and cut it out. So like I said, you need 2 of each. I have a left side front, 2, right side front, 2, same with the back, each side. So from this point, what we're going to do is we're going to take these backs right here for the front and back, or I'm sorry, the inside and outside. We're going to sew those guys together. So bear with me and we can get started on that. Okay, now I'm sewing the second back for this guy, same way as we did the one just a minute ago. We'll get this guy done. Now, as you can see, we have two backs. One's going to be a outer fabric, one's going to be an inner. And before we go any further, what we're going to do is we're going to take these guys to the ironing board and iron these flat, both of them, before the next process or going any further. And as you can see, I'm just ironing these guys flat on each one of them. Okay, so where we're at now, as you just seen, I just had ironed the backs, right, to make them nice and flat. Now what I'm going to do is match up the fronts each side to them. And of course you have a left and a right for each side. And this is a complete vest that you can use as the outer or inner and vice versa. So basically what we're going to do next is, as you can see, do you remember the little marks there, the little notches? We're going to line those guys up to each one. We're going to pin them, and then we're going to sew these with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And when you're sewing these, it's the fabric right to right. So, because when you flip them, it'll be like so. So that's going to be the next step. We'll sew each one of these guys like so, and then from there we'll move on. Okay, as you can see here, I have these guys pinned with the notches here, or cut up marks, matching up to sew these guys together. And again, as you can see, I'm still using a 1/2 inch seam allowance on this guy. And what I'm doing here, which you can see is, because I'm going to sew buttons on this vest, is I'm going to put a iron on some fusion in there on the buttonhole side. Normally you want to do that with buttons to thicken up the material, if you would. And at the same time, I'm sure everybody knows, but it's for boys or males, it's buttonholes on the left, because your buttons are going to be on the right, and just the opposite for girls or women. And what I like to do is, I'm going to have the holes on this side, and because I have a 1/2 inch seam allowance, is I've set this thing and I put this out 3/4 of an inch in from the exterior here, so to allow for that seam allowance, so this won't be part of it get caught up in there. And also, when you're doing these, if you want to do pockets, you can. But when I normally do these, I would put the pockets on the front of these before I sew them to the back. At this point, I know I've seen in children's vests where they have like a fake pocket. They'll just sew it on there. So I could either do that now if I want, or when the vest is together. The only difference would be you'd see the thread on the inside. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. But I'll show you something here. Here is a vest, or part of one that I did. Obviously this is the front. It has a welt pocket there with a dart, and this is wool. I did finish this vest, but one of the things I did learn was, when you're doing the pockets, is obviously you want to line them up, and obviously from left to right and up and down, because on this one I'll never be able to use this one, because through trial and error, what I did is, on the pattern, is I didn't have the pocket marked, and when I did these, I didn't measure them, so the matching to the other side, the pocket was totally off, so I could not use this, and like I said, I had to start all the way over. So this is just a scrap, or a good reminder, if you would. So that's why I have, like on the patterns, I have these pockets marked where they go, because what you can do is, once you have like this, if you're going to put pockets on it, before you attach it to the back, is you would mark this. Usually I just put a pin through there, then I can go back, and then when you go to put your pockets on and cut those in there, they're identical for the left and right for the fronts. So if that helps. So I think what I will do on this one is I will put some pockets on it, and I think I'll do it before I put it together. That way the seam or the stitch is not showing through. So what I'll do is I'll figure out what I need, how big they are, cut some material out. We'll make those, attach them to here. And like I said, they'll just be fake pockets. They'll look like a pocket, but you cannot stick your hand in it. And I think that would look good. So we'll work on that and get those pockets on here. Actually, we only need one because one's an inside, but get the pockets on the one before we put that together. I just wanted to show everybody these pockets here that I'm making for this guy. I basically went roughly that size. It won't be that size when I'm finished, but here's one that's already cut out and sewn. Here's the other one. This is what it looks like. Basically, it's inside out. You turn it the right side, like so. And also what you'd probably want to do is just iron that, both of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to match up this pattern to the front of the vest. I'm going to mark it, the pattern through to the front fabric there with a pin or something on each side. So when I put these guys on, they'll be exactly where they're supposed to go. So we'll get that marked and figure out where those go, and we'll go from there. Okay, as you can see here, I got the pockets here pinned on in the right location. And what I did is I basically, like I said before, is match up the pattern. I put pinholes through the bottom, found them here on each pocket. Then obviously for this side, turn that over, same thing. And I went ahead and measured them just to make sure that they're in the right spot and it's going to be consistent there. So now we'll get those sewn on. So as you can see here, I got that guy sewn on, and you can see where I sewed it here. I don't know, maybe an 1/8 to 3/16 this way, because what we're going to do is we're going to take that pocket and now we're going to fold it up. And then once we fold it up, then we'll go ahead and sew right here and right there to finish that guy. But actually I'm going to have to change the thread to match, so I don't have black thread there that I have brown, so we'll change that thread out and we'll get that sewn. We'll do the same for the other one. Okay, I went ahead and sewn on that other pocket on the other side, changed my thread out so now that it matches, and now we're going to finish these guys off here. And of course, like I said, with matching thread, because that thread you'll be able to see that on the finished vest here. So all we're going to do is, like I said, we sewed that across, take this up here so it looks like a finished pocket. And we're going to sew that up there, like so. Not too hard. So on this here, what you can see is for this pocket, for both of them, I sewed, I don't know, maybe an 1/8 inch or so from here. So that is both pockets on there that are finished. And we are ready to put that vest together.